When trapped in a difficult situation, the old man invited others to watch. At that moment, I lost all dignity. I have a painful past. I was loved as before, but now I think it doesn't matter. I just want to share my personal experience with you. 10 years ago, I was involved with a 60-year-old man, much older than my father. I was his junior for 5 years. Back then, I was very young and didn't want to be with such an old man. But I needed money desperately because my father was seriously ill. The daily cost was overwhelming. My boyfriend's family was well off. I wanted to borrow money from him. But when he heard about it, he changed his attitude. He said my father's situation was a bottomless pit and his money would likely be wasted. I begged and cried, saying my father's condition was improving. As long as there was a glimmer of hope, I wouldn't give up. I didn't want to see my mother working so hard and doing multiple part-time jobs while taking care of my father, but he rejected me and pushed me away. I broke up with him when I returned. I told him my family had too many problems and he couldn't handle them. At that time, I was extremely desperate. I even thought that if anyone could save my father, I would marry and serve him without hesitation. But I didn't wait for the savior. Instead, I waited for a 60-year-old man. He was straightforward and generous, saying he could cover all my father's expenses and give me a sum of money each month. The condition was that I had to take care of him and obey him unconditionally when needed. When he said this, looking at his wrinkled and loose skin and age spots, I felt nauseous. He gave me a day or two to consider and said he wasn't in a hurry as if he knew I would agree. That day, I went to the hospital and saw my mother's haggard face. When she asked about the money, I lied and said I borrowed it from a credit card and some good friends. I didn't tell her that my credit card was overdrawn and my friends had refused. I had no choice but to contact him. He fulfilled his promise and I finally felt relieved. But later, I realized I had just jumped from one pit to another. At first, I was skeptical about old men of this age, thinking I could handle it easily. But he was very perverted. Sometimes he called several men when he couldn't move and just watched. Sometimes he tied me with a rope and whipped me brutally. I dared not shout loudly because he forbade it. I endured it as it would only get worse if I resisted. Not only was the physical abuse intolerable, but the mental torment was equally crushing. I constantly questioned my worth and self-esteem, feeling trapped in a never-ending nightmare. Every day was a struggle to maintain a semblance of normalcy while my soul was being shredded. I started to lose touch with my friends and became isolated from the outside world. The only thing that seemed to matter was pleasing the old man, to ensure the financial support continued. Later, when my father recovered, but I was used to the lavish lifestyle and the money. Although it was painful to be with such an old man and sometimes I suffered physically, the money was too attractive to resist. I thought life would go on like this until one day, the old man said he didn't want me anymore as he found someone younger and prettier. He dismissed me with a small sum. This sudden abandonment sent me into a tailspin of confusion and self-doubt. I felt used and disposable, as if my entire worth was based on my appearance and ability to fulfill his twisted desires. The loss of financial stability added to my distress. making me realize how dependent I had become on a situation that was morally and emotionally corrupt. One day, I felt unwell and went to the hospital. The diagnosis was bad. It was a gynecological disease that might make it difficult to have children or cause miscarriage in the future. It was better than cancer or other serious diseases, as it wouldn't threaten my life. I could adjust my physical condition. But after taking a shower one day, when I stood naked in front of the mirror, the scenes of being with the old man and being tied up appeared in my mind. Suddenly, I felt disgusted with myself. I got goosebumps and pushed the mirror hard, breaking it and injuring my hands. I removed all the mirrors in the house as I didn't want to see myself like that. Then I went to see a psychiatrist. It was difficult at first because I didn't have the courage to speak out. But gradually, I disclosed everything because I wanted to heal myself. Even though my situation is improving now, I decided to share my story to serve as a warning. Relying on being supported by men for survival will make you accustomed to and enjoy it more and more. Remember, true independence and self-respect are the keys to a meaningful and fulfilling life.